And gentlemen, I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to look at the T49, the American BONK. Yes, it is the American BONK. Now, this tank is, when it was first released, it was something different. It was completely different to what we see as a light tank. And to be fair, the tank was absolutely broken. It was broken not because so much of the alpha or the speed, but you guys tell me, what do you think Wargaming did with this tank to make it broken? We will explain as we get on in the video. So I personally, I'm not a lover of the tank. You know, it's not a bad tank. It is a fun tank to play, and I'm not saying it is a bad tank, but I just don't feel it. You know, it doesn't sit nice with me. It doesn't play ball with me, and I don't normally do too well in the tank. Of course, it is a light tank, so it's got no armor whatsoever, so people will shoot HE at you. The DPM, we are running it with calibrated shells because obviously it only has heat and HE, and it is pretty low at 2062. The reload is 16.3 seconds, so yeah, it is a long reload. Penetration is 167 on that heat and 83 on the HE, so yeah, not too good to be honest, but it does have 560 alpha on your heat and 780 on your HE. Aim time is really bad at 6 seconds, and the dispersion is 0.453, so mega bad. Gun depression does have 10 degrees, and the top speed is 72 kilometers per hour. So yeah, it is a tank that you can go out and you can actually have a little bit of fun in it. Like, you can. And there's many ways that you can play the tank. You can either play it as a sort of shoot and run, shoot and then move. It's a quick tank, and a lot of the times you are only going to be able to use HE because you're not going to be able to penetrate anything. If you come up against a heavy tank frontally, you're never really going to be able to penetrate him with heat. So most of your shots will probably be like some splash damage. Now ignore these shots here. I'm just playing with him. I'm just warning him. I'm just warning that Super Hellcat that I'm there. That's all I'm doing. I didn't want to hit him. I didn't want to have a beautiful HE shot on a juicy target at all. I just wanted to warn that guy that I'm close, you know. I'm around and I can see him. So I do clear the Panther there, and here is the Object 252U. And this is what I mean. Like, if I come frontally against this guy, I'm really going to struggle to penetrate him. I might be able to hit his lower plate, but the idea is to get behind him. And even that, like, it is a struggle. It is still a struggle to penetrate him, but we can do it, and we have done it. So he is now hopefully a one-shot if I can at least average roll, but yeah, he is a one-shot now. So even a HE shot would be able to clear him. So you will have some of these games, some of these battles where you can't get behind them. You can't get behind them. You're going to struggle, and you're really only going to do that splash damage. So you're going to have some games where you're just going to do a few hundred damage, like 500-600 damage. And that's the thing with this tank. You're not going to bounce anything, literally nothing. You're not going to bounce anything at all. But it is still, after all that, it is still a fun tank to play, especially in a platoon. You know, if you can play this in a platoon, then yeah, it really is fun. Now that leads me on to where I said at the start that this tank used to be broken. So when this tank was first released, Wargaming, the Amarak possibility to Amarak a tank in this tank was set way above where it should be. So because you've got that massive alpha, you used to be able to Amarak a lot of tanks, and if you're in a platoon with two of these, I'm not joking, you used to be able to get 4 or 5 Amaraks at every single game, like between you both. We used to have a competition, me and Bob, my old mate Bob, we used to have a competition, like who gets the most Amaraks. And honestly, it's almost every single shot. Almost every single shot on a tank was an Amarak. It was absolutely beautiful. But yeah, it was extremely broken. And if you come up against another one of these tanks and you'd be just shoot it anywhere and you just ammo rack it. So yeah, the possibility of ammo racking a tank was set quite high. So of course over time Wargaming lowered that. And yeah, then it just become a fun tank to play, but it wasn't broken, and it's never been broken since that day. But who remembers that? Let me know in the comments below. Who remembers the time the T-49 was absolutely broken? I'd like to hear it if you was around that time of in the game. Because it was fun. It really was fun. And no one was really playing anything else either. Because, of course, if you want to play a tank that's broken, right? And everyone was playing the T-49. And it was, if you're in a platoon of T-49, 2 T-49s, and you're probably going to come up against another 2 people in a platoon in T-49s. And it was literally a competition, like who is going to ammo rack who first. And that is exactly what it was. Like, who is going to get the first ammo rack? And you had to go for the T-49s. Like, you had to focus them. Even if there were decent tanks, even if you're against Tier 9s, like, you had to focus the T-49s because they were the most dangerous. And they could just ammo rack you in the matter of seconds. So, yeah, let me know who was around in the game when the ammo rack was pretty busted in this tank. And of course, there was only one tank that could really, apart from a T-49, there was only one tank that could come up against a T-49 and be equally as broken, and that was the T-49A. And we're talking about the ammo rack on the T-49. Yeah, you used to be able to get 5 ammo racks a game by yourself in the T-49A. That was basically a T-49 with rockets, if you don't know what the T-49A was. So if you was around when the Sheridan had rockets, it was equally as it was like that, but the T-49 had missiles. Yeah, it was broken. Luckily it was only around for a couple of weeks, but yeah, those couple of weeks was probably one of the most fun times I've ever had in Blitz ever. So yeah, gladly Wargaming removed the T-49A, and then eventually they removed the Sheridan missiles as well. I don't even know why they ever done the missiles for the Sheridan, knowing how broken the T-49A was. But having said that, as I just stated, like, it's still not the tank for me. It's not a tank I sit there and play when I want to have fun, even though you can have fun in the tank, but it's not for me. It is a tank that I would choose if I was in a platoon, and that's basically about it. And that's only if the other person was playing a T-49 as well. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the T-49. In fact, when the tank was first released, before I knew it was broken, I didn't even run this gun. Like, my first ace on the tank was the small gun, you know, the gun that does very, very little damage, but it's got good DPM. It's basically it was like a bulldog, basically. So yeah, that is the T-49, the BONK, the USA BONK, the American BONK. It is a fun tank to play. Definitely, it's always going to be a fun tank to play. But yeah, it's just not the greatest in my opinion. So that's about it. Hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsyreplays, and I will catch you all very, very soon. Bye-bye. With